to Kittitian Heartbeat, the pulse of the tourism industry. I'm your host, Andre Huey, and we're coming to you from the lovely Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center in the Palmetto Point community. On this, the first edition of Kittitian Heartbeat, our guest is Deputy CEO, the newly appointed Deputy CEO of the St. Kitts Tourism Authority, Ms. Melnisa Marshall. Ms. Marshall, welcome.
Thank you, Andre. Pleasure to be here.
And congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you.
Well, first things first, we understand that the cruise tourism has somewhat restarted. What does that mean? Tell us more about that.
Okay, well, as we would all be aware, when we had the onset of the pandemic in 2020, many of our cruise lines around the globe, they ceased their cruises in March of that same year, 2020. In 2021, we were able to regain some of those vessels, and for the first time in July 2021, we actually had the visit of Seabourn Odyssey, which was the first cruise line to return to the destination since March 2020. And so throughout the past couple of months, we have continued to liaise with our cruise line partners to ensure that cruising resumes safely to the destination. We're not at the level where we would have been in 2019. We all know that we had 1 million passengers visiting the destination, but we are getting back there gradually.
Now, obviously, it must not be an easy task to get the sector restarted. What are some of the challenges that the sector has faced?
So as we would have said in several interviews previously, cruising is not the easiest when it comes to COVID-19. You have persons being on a vessel, you have testing, you have vaccination that you have to worry about. And so over the past couple of months, those have posed some challenges. Identifying protocols that not only work for the destination, but for the entire itinerary, because St. Kitts is not an itinerary on its own. We have to ensure that there are harmonious protocols across all of the destinations that one single cruise would visit during that 7-day trip or 8-day voyage.
Now, one of the ambassadors, you could say, of the destination are taxi drivers. They're very important. They are the ones who have a lot of contact with tourists when they come off the ships. How are they operating at Port Zante at this time?
Well, before I even get to how they're operating at this time, I want to ensure that we have the context of when we started, how it was for them. And we know that there were some challenges, because when we first resumed cruising was done in a bubble. And that is because at that time, we could not really extend all of the services that we wanted to our guests. And so for that, the taxi drivers experienced some challenges, but since then we have been able to work with the presidents of the two associations and the cooperative, and now we're working together to dispatch to the taxis at Port Zante. So we have a better relationship as we now progress during this time. So
having looked at the challenges, having looked at the restart of the sector, what's the future looking like for cruise tourism here in St. Kitts? Well,
for our future, it looks bright. We continue to dialogue with our cruise partners. Cruising is still going. The partners, our global partners, they are excited about the industry. Yes, we know that Omicron gave us a little bit of a setback, and so as a result of that, we had some of our cruise lines having to modify their itineraries or make cancellations. But since then, they have indicated that they are willing to continue with their cruises. CDC has ceased the conditional sailing order, which sort of hampered cruising in a way. And so we are now able to move forward. It's a voluntary program now. Many of the cruise lines have indicated that they will be a part of that voluntary program because health and safety remains a priority. Over the next few months, we've identified our traditional trade shows that we would normally attend and sell the destination. They have come back on stream. So we have Sea Trade in April, and then we have the FCCA in June. Normally it's in October, but they have moved it up a bit. And so we're excited. The industry is exciting. We're looking at keeping that momentum going. We know that COVID still poses some unknowns, but we are still hopeful that we can continue to progress forward.
And on that note, we end this edition of Kittitian Heartbeat, the pulse of the tourism industry. I'm Andre Huey, I was your host, and we came to you from the lovely Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center in the Palmetto Point community. Join us again for another edition of Kittitian Heartbeat.